Good evening. Welcome to tonight's live. Tonight, it's Friday. I hope everybody have a really good start of the year, um, and starting the new year with everything, right? So tonight we have a special guest. We're gonna be talking about taxes for a small business. So, if you guys have to ask, so let's see. Let's see if Mariana is ready. Oh, yeah. Let's see. So, if you guys have any questions, I have some questions already. But if you guys have some questions about the taxes for small business, you guys can ask in the comments, and we can talk about it. And our expert Mariana, she's gonna be answering your questions, okay? Because the taxes is one of our weakest points for contractors and for small business, right? So we sometimes we end up paying more money than what we are supposed to pay. So how can we avoid that? We need to learn more about taxes and what is it happening, right? And sometimes we don't want to. Oh, it's saying that you're not able to. Let me try to send you the invitation, Mariana. Okay. So sometimes I'm not sure why. Sometimes we are too shy to ask our tax preparer, right? Sometimes we don't ask. Hi, Mariana. What's
Hi.
good? Good
Hi. Good
evening.
afternoon. How you doing?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
Good. Thank you very much for the invitation. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go through all the live because I'm not in the US and my reception is not behaving. Just as
Okay, okay,
FYI.
okay. Thank you. So we have some questions here already, Mariana. Thank you for taking the time for to do this tonight. And if somebody has some questions, they can ask you. So, what are the most common tax mistakes that you see small business and contractors make, and how can they avoid them? What is it? What do you see more often?
My connection is very unstable. So yes, small businesses, it depends on the industry. If they don't really know the industry, they could be making a lot of mistakes. The most important one is not operating under the proper business structure. Sometimes they keep operating as a sole proprietorship because it's easier, simpler. So they don't want to change because sometimes changes, people is not ready for changes. So they think that if they file a corporation or an LLC, they need to be a big business. Sometimes you don't have to be a big business. Um, uh, yes, there's so many requirements if you file an S corporation, for example, but you get more benefits. So I consider that the most important or the biggest mistake that business owners can make and pay more taxes if they operate under the wrong business structure.
Okay. So it's a myth that you have to make 250,000 or more than $250,000 to be an S corp.
It's not a myth. It's safe. It's for your safety because if you don't make that money, as I explained, there are requirements. You pay less taxes if you file an S corporation. However, you need to meet some requirements. One of them being making at least $250,000 because you need to pay yourself on payroll. So if you don't make that money, and you don't make enough money to pay yourself, so that's one of the that could be a big mistake, and that indicates that the business is not ready um, to file an S corporation. So my recommendation is knowing your business, um, pay a tax preparer for tax planning, and to best manage your business and what is best for the business. Because if you don't, first of all, if you don't have a bookkeeping in place, you don't know how much money your business is making, and you don't have goals set for the following year, you don't have a direction. So before getting ready for taxes, you need to prepare your business and set goals and plan for the following year so you can save on taxes.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense because sometimes we as technicians, we know a lot about the work and how to get the work done, but once we start the business, it's like we don't know anything about it, right?
Yeah, it happens a lot that in the construction field, you start working for someone and then you decide to start your own business, but you don't know how to manage a business. And you miss a lot of requirements for the business. So little by little, you keep making that problem bigger for you, and you end up paying more taxes, yes, because you don't know how to manage your business.
Okay.
Starting from not knowing when is the best time to change for an S corporation, for example, which I would consider that should be the goal for everybody. Everybody should be focusing on getting ready to be an S corporation. However, as I explained before, the requirements, so you need to know exactly when you can be ready for an S corporation, because it's a process.
Okay, so you will say, if let's say I'm a sole proprietor, so the sole proprietors that are out there, how can they separate the business? Is it a good idea to start paying themselves even if they're sole proprietors, or how does that
Well, that's not allowed,
work?
first of all, by the IRS. And
Okay.
that's one of the biggest, not mistakes, but it's one of the biggest benefits that you're missing out, because you cannot pay yourself on payroll. So if you cannot pay yourself on payroll, you are paying about 30% of taxes on net income, which means if your business made, 50,000 or $100,000, you're gonna be paying $30,000 on taxes.
Okay.
So if you file for an S corporation, you pay less taxes, and you pay yourself on payroll. The business doesn't pay taxes. It's only you who pays taxes on, payroll taxes, and also dividends if you get money on distributions.
Okay. The S corporations, do you see what are the mistakes that maybe some of the S corp guys are making?
First of all, a lot of people file S corporations without any education, prior education. And when I say education, doesn't mean, going to school and, take classes, but get ready, train yourself to be a business owner under an S corporation structure. A lot of people, and I get clients that are S corporations and they're not paying themselves on payroll. So
Okay.
that's one of the biggest mistakes. The other mistake that I see a lot is they don't know how to manage a S corporation. You need to pay $800, at least $800 every year to keep it active. And then you also need to file statement of information every 2 years or every year. So a lot of people do not know that they do have those requirements. Another requirement is you need to make minutes, and a lot of people do not elaborate minutes, and that's a huge mistake also, and that can lead you to huge problems.
Okay.
So compliance problems. So yeah, a lot of people do not know. They file S corporations because a friend suggested, advised that an S corporation is the best option for them.
Yeah.
And yes, it is, but you need to know how to manage
Okay,
that
of course.
structure.
And Rudy says $800. Yeah, okay. Will, he sent 3 questions. He's asking if should the accountant have a relationship with his financial advisor?
Well, we work together because yes, we need to plan for the business future. So yeah, that could be a good idea. But the business owner need to build that relationship, because I have clients that do not know the relationship between, you know, those two individuals, and they ask me, okay, just call my business advisor or just call my CPA if I need someone. And I need you as the business owner understand why I'm asking for what I need and why is needed. And a lot of people, just because they're paying someone, they just send me to ask for whatever I need. So it is very important that first you need to learn how to manage your business before you hire someone to assist you and guide you.
Okay, but it has to be like a coordinated communication, right? Not just like
Yes,
you talk to my
yes, we
financial
work as a
advisor.
team.
Okay.
Yes, we work as a team because we are looking for, you know, the best for the business. And I, as a bookkeeper, I do have, you know, these responsibilities. And sometimes because you, as the financial advisor, are, you know, suggesting, you know, the purchase of equipment or, um, you know, a property or something. So we need to work together because you, as the business owner, do not know all the financial reports involved or, you know, percentages involved. So we need to work together to complete that package. If you are, you know, seeking for a business loan, you know, depending on what you're looking for the business, yes, we do need to work together.
Okay, Mariana, I see a lot of people doing the LLC, and looks like it's the easiest path because I think it's free. I'm not sure if it's free or not, but I think it's like really cheap to file your LLC, and then everybody's going to do like their LLC, and anybody can file for an LLC, and looks like it's the easiest. What are the let's say like the pros and the cons of having an LLC? What is some people why they're going with the LLC?
So it's an interesting question. Yes, there is a lot of misconception. An LLC doesn't exist with the IRS. Um, you just file for an LLC with the Secretary of State, and you can manipulate it as you wish. However, if you don't know why you are choosing for an LLC and you don't know, you know, what advantages you are looking for and take advantages of, it's not for free. You also need to pay almost as much as, you know, an S corporation. You also need to pay the $800 per year. You also need to file for the statements of information. So it's basically a separate entity. Yes, it gives you protection if you just file for an or for an LLC and do not do anything else. You will be making, or you will be filing taxes as an sole proprietor. But an LLC can also be elected as an S corporation for taxes purposes. So you can manipulate it. It's flexible, so you can use it as a sole proprietorship if you want to. If your business is not ready to file taxes as an S corporation, you can just wait and get your business ready for that moment when it's, you know, the best time for an S corporation. So you can elect that business with the IRS and take advantages of the taxes because you pay less taxes being an LLC. Or you can continue being an S corporation and just getting the protection that LLC gives you, because that's a separate entity. And, you know, restaurants or in the construction field, because there is a lot of risk, it's a high risk industry, and LLC is a good option if you're not ready for an S corporation. And
Okay.
then when the business is ready, you can elect that entity to file taxes as an S corporation. However, there could be some limitations with the board of contractors, because yes, they require for you to pay a higher premium. The disadvantages of an LLC under the construction field.
Okay, a higher premium. Okay,
For
Flores
the
Electric,
insurance.
what's up, Luciano? He wants to know, why are LLC entities expensive for electrical contractors?
So as I said, the difference is they force you, or they require for you to pay a higher premium for the bond insurance. That's about it. But everything else is
Okay.
the same as a corporation, regardless of being an S corporation or C corporation. You need to pay the $800 with the board of contractors for the application and everything else. You also need to comply with the workers' compensation, general liability, everything else. It's just the bond insurance that they ask you for more coverage.
Okay. How can a small business owner determine if they should file a sole proprietor, LLC, or S corp?
Yeah, that's a really confusing question for a lot of people, because they do not know. If they come to me, I would ask so many questions, because I do file for LLCs and S corporations and C corporations. You know, I do business structure. That's my favorite subject. However, if they come to me asking for an LLC, I want to make sure that they know what they're doing and why they're, choosing an LLC. If they say, okay, because I just need to protect my personal assets, and that's totally fine, and that's a good idea. That's a great idea. But basically, the goal for every business should be filing for an S corporation when the business is ready and when the business owner is ready. The business owner is going to be ready when they know how to manage, you know, those three different entities. The sole proprietorship is the easiest, yet is the more expensive business structure, because there is a tax that they pay just for being self-employed, which is 15%, 15.03%, that you don't have to pay if you are a corporation, an S corporation. So that's a big difference in taxes. Besides other benefits that an S corporation is going to provide you, such as the protection, because that's a separate entity from you. And as you know, in the construction field, there is a high risk. So everything is more expensive, and you need to protect your family, your assets, and, you know, just liability, for liability purposes. As soon as you can, just, you know, at least file for an LLC. And as soon as you can file for an S corporation, you're gonna know when you're ready for an S corporation if your business is making more than $250,000 per year, and you can pay yourself on payroll.
Okay, so it's not just, okay, let's say I'll go with you. It's like, Mariana, I just want to do an S corp, and that's it. So I have to educate myself on how I'm going to
Yes.
be managing this S corp,
If you
right?
don't, yes, if you're not sure, because I'm gonna ask you why you wanna file for an S corporation, and if you just say, oh, because my friend told me that's the best thing for me and my business, I'm like, yeah, but why? Have you asked your friend why he's recommending that business structure? Because do you know this all the responsibilities you are getting? And most of the time business owners do not know. So I do educate my clients, of course, before I put them into that adventure, because it's not that easy, especially if you were a sole proprietor for a long time and then you want to become an S corporation. It's a huge change. So, you now need to separate all the business expenses, because you cannot just, as a sole proprietor, a lot of people mix their expenses, personal expenses, with business expenses. If you file for an S corporation, that's a separate entity. It's just like being a different person. So you cannot just get money out of that business without control. There also needs to be a record keeping in place, because one of the requirements is also for the bookkeeping being correct. You pay less taxes, yes, but you are more at risk of audits. So if the IRS discovers that you are not managing your S corporation properly, they can, you know cancel your entity. So yes, you need to educate yourself. But
Wow.
I teach classes at the JC. I teach QuickBooks classes in Spanish. We also offer QuickBooks classes in English, but I do teach in Spanish. They're also online and in person. So there's so many options. Those are credit classes, yes, but we do offer different programs that can assist you with the payment. So if you or anybody is interested, just let me know. I can give you all the information.
Okay. This the JC guys is the junior college here in Santa Rosa,
Yes,
and they have all these.
but we do offer classes online. So if you live in California, you can take classes online with the JC.
For sure, for sure. Okay. Let's see. What are some tax deductions that contractors and small business often overlook?
Um, Well, it depends on the business structure, again, because the way that business file taxes are different, and the guidelines could be different, deductions, benefits are different. But if we are talking about sole proprietors, the biggest one I think is a lot of people, because they're using sometimes the business account, to get money every time they need, because yes, it's their business and that's their money. So sometimes you take more money than what the business have, and then if you need to cover up a check, you put money back to that account. And a lot of times that deposit that you made from your personal account, you count that money as income. That's a huge mistake that a lot of people make. If they don't have that record keeping in place, that's very easy to miss and confuse deposits that you made, transferring the money to your business account to cover some expenses, business expenses that you need. And then because you don't have that record keeping in place, at the end of the year, when you're getting ready for taxes, you just go and take all your bank statements and count all the deposits. And sometimes you confuse some of those deposits.
Okay. So it can count as
Yes.
a loan, Rudy, right? It's
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, or it's not a question, I guess it's a comment. Also, if you are an S corporation, because there's so many strategies that you can implement to save money for your business. One of them could be, if the business need money, you can borrow and you can charge interest on that loan. So there is so many things and benefits that you can take advantage of if you file for an S corporation.
Oh, wow.
Which doesn't happen if you are a sole proprietor.
Okay. Rudy's saying, I do it all the time, loan to the company. Okay, that's nice. Let's
Yes.
see. Can you explain how the home office deduction work and what qualifies for them? Are there any tax? I think that's the next one. Can you explain how the home office deductions work?
So business have two different options, or standard deduction, which means you can deduct $5 per square feet with a maximum of 300 square feet, which means $1,500 in deduction for the business, or you can go by the actual expenses. If you use 100 feet and your house measures 1,000 feet, so you are using 10% of your house for your home office, so you can deduct 10% of all the expenses that you share with your business, such as, you know, rent or mortgage or tax, utilities, everything that you share, you can deduct 10% or the percentage that you use for the business.
Okay. Are there any tax credits specifically available to contractors or small business or small service business?
Yes, they're not specific for the
Okay. They're for
construction
everybody.
field, but yeah, for example, there is this let me see if I find it somewhere, because there is an acronym, yeah, the R&D, which means research and development. You can deduct from 6 to 14% of eligible expenses, which means if you are contributing to, you know, developing in a specific city for, you know, a specific development, you can claim some expenses. Of course, you need to consult with your tax preparer and see if those expenses qualify. There is also, you know, for the construction field, there is equipment that you use. So if you use equipment that is, you know, use sustainable energy, you can also take credits for that kind of equipment. But it's not specific to the construction field. It's for every business, but because you know, in the construction field, you guys use a lot of equipment, there could be potentially more access to those credits if you purchase the equipment that qualifies for those credits. Okay. Or, you know, like the solar panels, you know, anything that contributes to the environment, you can deduct. There is all kinds of deductions. Yes.
Okay. The depreciation of the equipment.
There is a bonus depreciation, but also, yeah, you can depreciate for the life of the equipment. If you purchased, you know, I don't know what kind of tools you buy for your business, but if you paid $10,000 for such equipment and that equipment life is 5 years, you can deduct $2,000 per year, or you can deduct, right now there is an 80% bonus depreciation. However, that changes every year. So just make sure that you talk to your tax preparer and see if the bonus depreciation applies for for that equipment in specific, and if the bonus depreciation is the best option to depreciate. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What records should contractors and small business owners they should keep to ensure they're ready for tax season? Because sometimes they say like save all your receipts, but sometimes it's hard to keep up with all the receipts. Like if I go get some gas, if I go to Lowe's, if I go to Home Depot, then I go to put gas or like it's hard to keep up with all those receipts, right? What records should we keep?
Unfortunately, you have to. There is no
Okay.
choice. Yes,
Okay.
that's for the health of the business. You need to keep records of everything, especially if you are, using, specific deductions for the business. You need to keep records. If you get an audit, you don't know what, whomever audits you is gonna request. So you need to be ready, especially because sometimes we do not perform the best record keeping and the bookkeeping. So if you don't have the receipts and you are claiming that you spent $50,000 in business expenses, operating expenses, if they request for a specific deduction, let's say you reported in materials and supplies $10,000 one year, and the following year you report $20,000. That's a huge difference. So there is a huge chance that you are going to get an audit, and they want to know what happened, why there is a huge difference in those reportings. So as what you need to keep for and be ready for the taxes, you need to have your profit and loss statement. Yes, you need to have one, and also the balance sheet and all the receipts to support those figures in those reports.
Okay, so yeah, guys, there's no way out. We have to keep all our receipts in place, save everything, okay?
Yes, and my recommendation is, just to have a separate business account for the business. And as you mentioned, sometimes you go and pump gas or purchase different things. Sometimes in the construction field, people use cash, and it's not that the cash is not permitted. It's just that it's very easy for you to lose the receipt. And if you lose the receipt and you purchased something for the business, you are not deducting that expense, and you are missing out in taxes. You're paying taxes over some expenses. So that's another huge mistake that people make, using cash and not keeping the receipts.
Okay. So no cash, and keep all the receipts because sometimes
It's not recommended. Sometimes it's needed. Yeah, sometimes it's needed, and that's okay. Try not to do it. But if you need to use cash, just keep the receipt and report it. Use it as claim it in your profit and loss statement.
okay. Okay. Buenas noches, Sergio. What's up, Sergio? Sergio, thank you for your comment, man. You know how much I appreciate you. RP Chamber, what's up, RP Chamber? Thank you for being here. Let's see, we go to the next one. How can small business use bookkeeping tools or systems to stay on top of their taxes throughout the year?
So I recommend QuickBooks. If you cannot take classes, there could be a lot of videos on YouTube. There is tons of tutorials for you to learn how to use those tools. There is also this bookkeeping program called Wave, WAVE. It used to be free, but now they're charging. That's another great tool that I consider it's very easy for people without experience to use. But use something. If you cannot use a computerized program, try to learn how to complete a profit and loss statement, manually, but do something. If you have a business, it is needed. It's not optional. You have to get a record keeping in place. If you cannot hire someone to do it for you, try yourself and learn how to complete it. And then probably if you take your business to the next level, you can, afford paying someone to do it for you, but it's needed. If you don't do it, I'm sure that you are missing out on so many deductions. And if you think that you are saving money because you're not paying someone to do it for you, it's on the contrary. A lot of time, or most of the time, you are wasting money because you are not completing a profit and loss statement that it's accurate. So you are not filing taxes properly. And let's say that you are overpaying taxes. That's really bad for your business. And if you are underpaying taxes, you are at risk of an audit. So regardless, you could be in trouble, not only overpaying, but also getting, an audit, which is a nightmare if you don't know how to deal with the IRS and complete an audit. A lot of people make so many mistakes when, yes, they do have an audit in place. They don't know how to complete it. They make more mistakes because they send more information that they should. And that opens up a big can of worms because the IRS now has to review everything that you sent. And if you didn't make just one mistake, if you make more mistakes, so it's
We're just
getting
digging
more
a
and
hole
more
deeper,
problems for
right?
you. Yes.
Okay. Wow. So let's see. What's the best way to estimate and pay quarterly taxes to avoid penalties? For the people that
So,
can make it, do you recommend the quarterly payments?
well, it depends on how much money they're making. If they're making over in net profit, if they're making over $160,000, $160,000, yes, it is recommended for you to pay quarterly taxes. You have to estimate because you don't know how much money you're making prepayments, so you don't know how much
Okay.
money your business is actually making, so you're gonna go by last year's. And that's why the IRS, if they see huge differences, they're gonna say, hey, what happened here? There is a huge difference. I wasn't expecting this money if it was low or higher. But yes, if you're making more than $160,000 in net profit, you should be making prepayment taxes. You are
Okay.
required to make 90% of your prior year's earnings.
Okay. So excretions. What is that? What is that, Rudy? What is excretions? Um so the next question is, how can a contractor or a small business prepare now to minimize their tax liability to next year?
Well, first of all, having a record keeping in place, tax planning. And when they do tax planning, they can also not only consider if they're going to be paying taxes, but also probably purchasing equipment, getting a business loan for expansion, for so many things, and taking your business to the next level. But for that, you need to, be ahead of the business, and everything comes from the bookkeeping. That's
Okay.
the answer for
Okay. So
everything.
So you think probably the tax person or your accountant or your bookkeeper is not a person that you should be only seeing one time a year. You have to
Oh
see them
no.
more often.
Yeah, to my clients, I send financial statements every month.
Okay.
So, it is very interesting how if they see their finances every month and how the business is behaving, I get a lot of phone calls. Hey, Mariana, do you think I was invited to invest on, real estate? There is, so many things that business owners can later start investing on, so they can know if it's a good idea, if the business is growing, if, now it's not only what the business is making, but also they're being investors, which is going to another level. So, but and it's very interesting because a lot of those clients started as a sole proprietor, but then little by little went to an S corporation and hired employees, and then they're now investing on different other options. So yeah, knowing the business as much as they can. Running a business is not that simple. I really admire that you are trying to communicate all these tools and information to business owners, especially in the construction field. So I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, try to grow. We used to be known as, Hispanic or Latin workers as, the cheap laborers, but now we are business owners and we need to grow our business and actually really to compete with any entity, I mean any ethnicity, because we are really hard workers and we deserve paying the right amount of taxes and running our business in the best way to grow and expand. And um, the American dream was buying a house. Now the American dream is, starting a business, but a successful business.
For sure, for sure. Um, I'm learning a lot just by listening to you. So thank you, Mariana.
I'm
Edgar,
a
what's happening, Edgar?
nonstop, so
Do you have any questions for Mariana, Edgar, about the business, about the taxes? How is everything? How is everything going with you, Edgar? Will is saying you are correct. Girasol Collective, education is power. Yes, that's why we're trying. We're
yes.
trying to educate ourselves. And now every time I get a receipt, I'm gonna be thinking about you. I will
Yes,
remember that I have to keep it.
yeah, you need discipline. Your business requires discipline. Yes.
For sure. Okay. What steps can a small business owners take to reduce their chances of being audited?
Um, so there could be four different chances. One of them you cannot do anything because it is by, they randomly pick business owners.
Okay.
So that's not optional. It could be for anybody. But there could be red flags. One of them being, as the example that I explained, when you reported or claimed 1 year $10,000 on such expense and the following year $20,000, that's a huge difference. So that triggers a red flag. That could be one of the red flags, a discrepancy on, there is no consistency. The other red flag could be reporting too many expenses in the miscellaneous line. The miscellaneous,
Okay.
I don't like using that line. I'm not, I'm not fan of that line. I need to know, I need to identify every single expense, but a lot of people use it, as I don't know, it's practical. So they just put expenses in that line. So for the IRS, you need to identify your expenses.
Expenses that don't even make sense, right?
Yes. And also, if you reported way too many expenses and not that much of income, it's also very inconsistent. So the IRS knows for an electrical business, for example, how much, if you made how much in 1 year, how much is, normal to report as expenses.
Okay.
So if you reported, way too much in expenses, because it happens a lot, in the construction field and in every field, that a lot of people get cash, for example, so they use the cash and not report it as an income, but the materials and supplies they report as expense. So that triggers also a red flag. So yeah, those are the most common chances that you can get
Okay.
audited.
Tari Electric is asking how much depreciation will a 55,000 truck will have?
55,000 in value.
Yeah, for a truck. If he buys a truck of 55,000, how much, or how he has 5 years, right? But how much on that depreciation?
So it depends, because it depends on the weight and how much he's gonna use that truck for the business.
Okay.
So he can depreciate it for, a lot of tax preparers use 80%, 90%. Most tax preparers do not use 100% as for the business use.
Okay.
He should check with his tax preparer, because they know the business. I don't want to give, general information, because that depends on specifics. And also, if it's, 100% used for the business, yeah. But yeah, he can depreciate in 5 years the cost of the truck.
Okay. So let's see. They're talking about discipline. Discipline is loading freedom. Discipline gives you the most freedom. Okay. Thank you, Will. A non-profitable business or low profit, consistency will flag. They want money, cash, and keep company expenses high and resell for cash. You want a healthy, growing, profitable business. All
Yes.
right. Thank you, Will.
Yes. And we can grow business. It's not that hard, but we need discipline. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. How can this? Did I ask you this one? No, I don't think so. How can a small business plan their taxes if they're anticipating significant growth or major changes in the next year?
Well, if it's not a mistake to grow the business, you're not in trouble if you grow the business, and if you can prove that the business growed, by the way that you are managing your business, that's what the IRS wants to see. But everything needs to be consistent. Of course, if you are a business owner doing electricity, for example, I'm using your business as an
Yeah,
example.
that's fine.
But if you are a sole proprietor for 1 year, and the next year you are an S corporation, a sole proprietor with no employees, and the next year you're an S corporation with probably 200 employees, that could not be feasible, probably.
Okay.
So
Yeah, for sure.
but if you are a sole proprietor, and then the next year you partnered with another company, or joined a project with another company, and you are now hiring 200 employees, that makes sense. So But if you grow the business consistently, if you are a sole proprietor 1 year and the next year you are an S corporation with 20 employees, that's not that, that's not a normal. That could be realistic.
Okay. So do you think then, us as a business owner, should we meeting with our bookkeeper, let's say, maybe every 2 months, every 3 months, or 4 months, or every 6 months? What would you recommend?
Well, at the beginning, for example, I'm talking about my practice and how I deal with my clients. Sometimes they come to me with a little question, and but then talking to me, and I review, I check the business health. I check, if they're behind on, I need to make an analysis on the business, and then I can make recommendations. But at the beginning, there is a lot of back and forth questions, because I also need to know the business. So I might need a lot of information from the business, and the business owners have so many questions at the beginning, and little by little, they learn how to manage their business. And yes, they're not gonna stop making questions, because the business is gonna keep growing. So they're gonna keep, having questions, but you can see a lot of progress. I get questions like, I want to buy another truck. What do you recommend? Things like that, things in the growing path.
Okay. And it's important to be asking these questions, right?
Yes, it is very important, because if you don't come to me, I don't know if you want to grow your business. So, and it's okay. If you don't want to grow the business, that's totally fine. But if you want to grow your business, we need to work together.
Okay. And in constant communication.
Yes. So my wife is becoming a CPA, so I'll have to meet with her every day. Yeah, I hope she doesn't charge that much.
Okay. Well, Mariana, if you guys don't have any more questions, I think we're gonna finish the live. Mariana, thank you very much. I know you are in Mexico, and the signal was a little bit blurry at some points, but I really appreciate that you took the time to do this live with me. And hopefully,
Anytime.
when you come back, I hope maybe we can do another live, and we can have another conversation on this.
Anytime.
Landeros Electric, what's the difference between a CPA and a tax preparer?
So the CPA is the person that a CPA can also be a tax preparer, and a tax preparer doesn't have to be a CPA. So if you are a tax preparer, you could also be an enrolled agent, to do taxes, to have the license to file taxes with the IRS. You need to have this specific number to represent your clients, and it's an authorization that you get from the IRS. A CPA is a license. I'm becoming a CPA, so I need to go through all this training. And a CPA is certified public accountant, who can also sign for documents. I'm gonna give you the perfect example. A lawyer and a paralegal. The paralegal can, file documents for you. They can guide you. They can complete applications, and the lawyer can sign documents and certificate documents. That's the difference. The CPA has license to certificate.
Okay. Your contact information, Rise and Grind is asking how can they contact you if they have any questions, or if they want to follow you on the platforms.
Yes. So you can also share my number, I guess, because I'm using my cell phone for the live, and
Okay.
I don't want to because I don't have the best connection, you can
Okay.
share my number, my email address. As I explained,
Okay.
I'm a business advisor, so I can also advise on business management. My business, I offer bookkeeping,
Okay.
business management in general, and payroll. And I teach also bookkeeping, QuickBooks with the JC. So
Okay. With the Santa Rosa Junior College.
with the
Steve,
Santa
how you
Rosa Junior
see?
College.
Any advice to the contractors if they need to file the BOI e-filing?
So the BOI has been back and forth. It has been in the limbo as of right now. It looks like has been passed. So you can
Okay.
file the BOI if you want. I would recommend. It's not that hard to file it. If you need assistance, I can give you the link. That's with Zenfin. So Zenfin or Zenfin? Zenfin. So it's really simple to file. You don't have to pay anything. Just to be safe, file it, but it's not a requirement anymore.
Okay,
Looks like.
so you can follow, guys. You can follow Mariana on Almaraz Business Services, and you guys can go there and follow her and support her. And if you guys have a question, you can send your questions in the message, or also your number is there too, Mariana. How I met Mariana, guys? Mariana probably doesn't remember me, but I
No.
met her when she was an advisor from SBDC, the Sonoma Business Development Corporation, and I wanted to get but I was not ready to get my electrical license, so I was trying to get the handyman license. So I went to talk to Mariana about how can I, like, I was only gonna be doing electrical, but I wanted to get like the handyman license so I could at least have something, right? So that's how I met Mariana long time ago, and you give me a good advice. So Mariana, thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to have another live with you in the future.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.